Hello, John Talley here with Partzilla.com. Today I'm going to show you how to do an oil change on our 2008 Kawasaki KLR 650R. Pretty simple procedure. Just need to warm it up, go ahead and drop the oil, change out the filter, then get it refilled. So let me get her started up and I'll show you how to get it done. Alright guys, basically this is going to be a skill level 1, so it's not going to be that complicated. As far as the tools you're going to need, just going to need a 17mm socket, an 8mm socket, a couple of different ratchets, a flat blade screwdriver, just a pair of pliers. Most importantly, you want a decent torque wrench so you don't strip out that old drain plug. As far as the parts go, why don't you check out our diagrams, and that'll show you exactly where everything's located and also give you a list of what you need to order. Once you've got your tools and your parts together, we can get started. All right, we've got it warmed up. Let's go ahead and take this fill cap off, and then we'll get the oil drained out. It's a 17mm, about center of the engine toward the back. I always like to start with a clean drain pan, because if there is something going wrong in the engine, your oil is a great indicator of that. If it has kind of a gold tint to it when you're draining it, it usually indicates some type of bearing issue. But this oil actually looks pretty good. It probably could have gone a little bit further. The recommended oil change interval on these is about 6,000 miles. I prefer to do about every 5,000, mainly because it's just easier to keep up with than increments of 5, or at least it is for me. All right, once that finishes up, we'll go ahead and replace the drain plug. Kawasaki actually recommends that you replace this little crush washer. The torque setting on our drain bolt is 21 foot-pounds. I can usually do this without a torque wrench, but if you're not really comfortable with just guessing, so to speak, I suggest you get yourself a torque wrench, because the last thing you want to do is strip out a drain bolt, because that means A, you either have to do a time cert and put another one in there, or worse than that, replace your cases. So I'd rather invest in a torque wrench instead of a set of cases. All right, next, let's go ahead and turn our attention to the oil filter housing. And it's just held in place, the cover at least, by a couple of 8mm. All right, down at the bottom, this little tab that sticks out, get your screwdriver in there, kind of wiggle it back and forth to bring it out. Be careful when you're doing this. You don't want to break off any part of your cover here. There we go. That O-ring looks good. All right, let's go and get that filter out. I want you to take note that there's an actual section of what they call the bypass valve that has a little step section. When you put it back together, you need to make sure that that goes in first. All right, go ahead and insert this back in our filter, or our new one rather. The stepped section is going into the machine. Let's go ahead and get our cover back on. All right, they're lined up correctly. Let's get them snug back down. All right, next, we just need to refill it. All right, according to the manual, it holds a little over 2.5 quarts, so we can safely go ahead and pour it in 2. Then I'm going to crank it up for a few seconds, let it get circulating, and then set the level. All right, we've got 2 quarts in. What we're going to do is crank it up and just let it idle for just a few seconds, because basically we just need to fill in the voids around the new oil filter and whatnot. Because see, if you look at it right now, it would think, you know, all right, it's ready to go. But I know it's still, at least a half a quart low. So let's crank it up and then set the level. All right, after you run it for a few minutes, make sure you let it settle for 2 to 3 minutes, and then we can go ahead and set that level. As you can see, our level is right there at the moment. So let's start pouring it in slowly. And that's about where you want it. It's a little over halfway in between the two marks. And sure enough, that was roughly another, right at a half a quart. Go ahead and put our fill cap back on. And that pretty much wraps this one up. The only thing left now is just to take the oil over to a recycler so it can be disposed of properly. Well, listen, if you need any of the parts that we used on this, why don't you come see us at Partzilla.com and we can get you taken care of. If you have any questions or comments, just leave them in the section below and I'll do my best to answer them. Until next time, we just want to say thanks for watching.